Okay, so let's take a look at how we might apply the writing process to an exam itself. And I think part 2 has a question here that might give us the better choice of sample here or example. Consider Layla and Tarek's decision to move back to Kabul at the close of the novel. Is their choice a responsible one for their children? Okay. Does their desire to help their country clash with their role as parents? Explain your assertions using evidence from the novel. Okay, so if if we were going to apply the writing process to this, we only have so much time. So what we want to do is just put down enough information so that we can move along and not lose our place. So this is where we could just briefly use a few seconds to mentally run through the invention process slash pre-writing process. And once we take a look and kind of think about what we want to write, then we can basically start making an outline. Now, usually people kind of do this like they do in writing as a seamless whole, as at the same time. So usually you could put let's see, is their choice a responsible one? And you could be thinking as you're making your outline, because just like writing, these things go together. So yes, and you could put responsible and one, and then does their desire to have not clash, and explain your assertions using evidence, and you could put responsible, and then you could start listing, reason 1, reason 2, reason 3, and then you could put not clash, then reason 1, reason 2, reason 3. Okay, and this would be enough, to get you going, and this would be about as far as you'd want to push it. Okay, because this is gonna just be enough to keep you in line. Now, some people actually like to use this to help them draft the essay itself. So they'll start out under responsible and they'll write that part out and just keep on moving through this. I want to see this part here as part of my assessment of you. And so, like whether you use this or another one, I just want to kind of see what it is you do here. And so, if you can, try to leave that there. It's not gonna, like I said, this is not gonna hurt your grade. And so, don't be worried about that. But if you want to use this as kind of like a template that you can write out of, if you can think of it, try to take this and then just copy it and leave that there, and then start writing underneath it. Because as it looks, I think we're going to do these via computer, or at least give you an option. Okay. And this kind of goes right along with Mick Warders. So here she starts talking about formal words, draft answers in outline form. Okay. And actually here she's still talking about like sometimes studying here. Okay. And this is this is something where if you predict like what kind of questions go on, you can very very you can study for these things much more effectively. And so just with those kind of assertions that I made and suggestions I made, you can branch off and make all kinds of different types of questions, because I'm not going to ask exactly the same question, but they'll probably be related to those topics that I mentioned in one way or another. So if you study similar questions, they will probably, intertwine somewhere along the lines with something that you've studied. And if you think through similar questions, they'll be related, and you'll be able to you will have already thought through parts of them, and so you'll just be looking at the same thing from a little bit of an angle. And so these are things that you can take a look at. Okay. Now, here she gives a good example of when you're taking the exam. Um, how to arrive in the room, read the directions, just like we talked about, preview exam, and plan your time carefully, just like we talked about. Notice the point value of each question. By the way, at the beginning of the exam, like if there's different sections, it's a good idea to jot down when you should be done different parts of it. So like here, you might want to jot down when you want to start part one, when you want to start part two, that sort of thing. Just so um, you know, like when exactly you should be finishing up, stuff like that. And if you give yourself notes like that, that seems to help. And then that way if you're running over, if you're running behind, that sort of thing. Okay. Oops. Okay. Choose topics or questions. Answer the easiest questions first. Uh, Actually, I kind of sometimes do the opposite of that. I save the easiest ones for last because I try to tackle the hard ones first. Um, but that's up to you. Consider audience purpose, exactly what they're going to be looking for. Remember, your first draft is your final draft, and plan and organize your answer. And there, like you do want to remember as you go along to that you do need to be more conscious of superficial things as you're moving along. But it is something where you do want to keep your mind on the global and edit kind of as at the same time. So that's one of those things where you kind of revert back, and you have to fight a little bit, like against your natural inclination, um, you know, toward process writing. And so that does tend to be a little bit more difficult. Okay. So here's another thing that I think is good with McWhorter writing exam or writing essay answers. She talks about taking a look at different verbs and what they asked you. This is a very good list to take a look at. Compare and contrast shows up a lot. Define, discuss, evaluate, explain, all of these. Justify. This one might show up somewhere. Compare, contrast, evaluate. When it starts talking about justify, um, um, evaluate, stuff like that, take a stance. Those things really do want you to, do something argumentative. Even compare and contrast. That's argumentative. Sometimes you have to take a look to see whether an exam is asking you for information, analysis, argument, and the questions will tell you a lot of stuff. Here, I think Mick Warder gives you some good advice about thesis statements and intros and conclusions. And what she says is basically these are going to be a lot shorter than your normal essay. And here again, this is because of the rhetorical situation. So ordinarily, you need to funnel the reader into and out of an essay, but here you don't have time to do it as thoroughly or as carefully as you might in another rhetorical situation. So these things happen to be very streamlined, very quick, and direct. Okay, so usually, you can have it's totally normal and usually acceptable and warranted to have like a one sentence introduction, to these. And she gives you some good examples here, like to just respond to the question. So those, like you have like a thesis statement that basically is the introduction, okay, and then you hop into the evidence. So you basically can be and should be more direct with these timed essay exam components, okay. And when she talks about leaving enough time to reread and proofread your essay answer, what I would suggest also with this is to mark places as you go along where that you want to revisit or that you think might be problematic. And then that way you can basically make your revision and editing process or step at the end of the exam period much more efficient. That's something that can really save you a lot of time and really direct your efforts so much more quickly and directly to where you need to go to, get done what needs done, especially if you know that during the exam but need to move forward to make sure that you take care of the global things first, okay, and to take care of like the big issues, whereas you have like these passages where they're not as clear as you would like them to be, but at that point you're only halfway through the essay and you need to move on just because you need to get it done. And if you don't move on, you can't get it done. So that's a case where if you just mark it on the in the margin, like to make sure that you can mark it there and put unclear, get back to this, then that way you can go back and try to straighten that section up when you finish. And and even if you don't make it back, sometimes even the professor will see that and say, oh well, at least they realized that it wasn't clear. It's kind of like, if you don't finish, sometimes it's good to put like a little outline at the end of like how you would finish. Not that gets always award professors award you points for that, but it's worth a try. Okay, it's better than just not putting anything. Okay, and I think that's probably um, enough to get you going. So that will probably that's probably enough to get you set up for the practice exam. So with that said, take a look on Canvas um, for the practice exam. When you open that up, it will be timed. You can take it as right there online, or you can do it handwritten if you prefer. If you do, make sure you bring in a copy of that on Wednesday, and also you may want to make a scanned copy of it, or make a copy for me so I can make a PDF and put it into the file to make sure you get points for it and stuff. But either way will be good. What I would suggest is do whichever you need more practice on. If 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 the if the handwritten ones are the ones that really um, you do you struggle with more, then maybe that's the one to sharpen your skills with um, this semester and in this class. Why you have the opportunity, and vice versa. Okay. Anyway, good luck with all of this, and I look forward to seeing you on Wednesday and reviewing your practice exams. If if you can remember, please do bring in your laptop or your tablet if you have one. I'll bring in a couple extra tablets or laptops uh, for those of you who don't have one, and we'll try to get things rolling. Anyway, have a good couple days, and we will see you soon.